Hey everybody, today we're going to be covering the 7 things that you need to know about Houston, and particularly the Houston Heights, before you move here. So if that's what you're here for, we're going to be getting after it right now. So let's get into it. We're going to be covering 7 things. Now you're going to need to be sticking around all the way to the end because I've got a little bonus. Call it a 7+ here at the end, and it's going to be the most important deciding factor about whether you live here in Houston Heights or not. So you're going to want to stick around to the end. So number 1, hike bike trail system. Now I ranked these, put these together that says, look, this is the type of research that I want to know. I want to have the look, the feel of it before I get here. And so number 1 is the hike bike system. Why? Because it is so convenient. It can impact work, your commute. It can impact your lifestyle of how do I get to some of the great areas. How do we get around as a family? Now, the hike bike system is an overlay of old railroads where rather than just taking and tearing out that railroad that used to cut through this area, they cover it over and have that dedicated area as a hike bike trail. So everything that you see as a hike bike trail used to be a railroad or used to be part of the old trolley system back in the 1800s. So a lot of this hike bike trail system is really convenient when you're talking about just getting in and around on the heights. And also what's great is the hike bike system or hike bike trail also integrates not only for transportation and getting around the Houston Heights, but it's also integrated with the park system along the bayous and along the areas that have a tendency to flood or the natural floodways, and so that you have this integrated park plus activity going on, and the hike bike system feeds right into all those. Now I'm going to put down in the bottom in the description, I'm going to put some links in there so that you can go and find some maps and see some cool things. Next, you're going to want to know what are the bars, restaurants, and then where are those hot spots. Particularly we're going to be talking about, and you're going to want to go check out White Oak Boulevard down on the south side. You're going to want to see the restaurant and bar scene down in what I call this historic Houston Heights downtown area along the 19th and 20th Street. You're going to want to check out that Shepherd-Durham corridor and check out all the beer gardens and restaurants and clubs that have been going in along there. I say clubs, that's probably we're not talking about the chicky clubs. We're talking about more of like Katz's Deli. We're talking about Heights Beer Garden. We're talking about Snooze, breakfast eatery, and we're talking about those types of places. So the beer, the restaurants. You're also going to want to check out where all the brewery, the local brewery places are. You've got St. Arnold's Brewery. You've got breweries over on the 19th Street. So you're going to want to know where all those are at. Next, you're going to want to know where the shopping is. What kind of shops? Now we're talking about everything from trendy shops, integrated with the trendy restaurants. They're off of Yale and call it that 7th Avenue cluster there. Shops again integrated into that 19th and 20th Street. Shops that are all along that Shepherd-Durham corridor. And we're going to cut in, we're going to put in some pictures and some descriptions of some of the shops. But then also you're going to want to know where those little hidden gems are, those things that are off the beaten path, those local, not as well known, but just great local little spots like I've talked about it before, but Angela's Oven and not Arnold Palmer, but Ryan Palmer Art Studio, and then right there along that Heights Boulevard. So shopping centers. One of the other things, or the next things, I haven't been doing my numbers. So for those of you back home, and maybe we can edit in and make sure to keep me on track. So we're at number 4. Number 4, the number 4 thing, that is not everything that's called the Heights is the Heights. I don't know, my wife and I, we get all these, we see all these memes and all this stuff, and if you're from New York, you might get this, or if you're familiar with the Brooklyn area, there's this part of Brooklyn that's just so trendy, it's called Williamsburg. Well, now everybody's like, oh, this is South Williamsburg, and South Williamsburg, and East Williamsburg, and West Williamsburg, and blah, blah, blah. They're all trying to sell you this name and this name brand. Well, we're getting the same thing going on here in the Houston Heights. It's so trendy, so desirable, that you've got these areas that aren't really the Heights that are trying to leverage that name. Independence Heights, Brooksmith Heights, Lower Heights, Sawyer Heights, Greater Heights. And I'll do a whole video, and that's actually the next video my wife and I are going to do. We're going to drive around. That is nothing to say to disparage these other places. They're great places, but just you gotta kind of know that you're working with people that really know and really understand this particular area. I saw a video on YouTube the other day of a real estate agent was out, and I'm not going to mention who it was or anything. Great person, I like them, but they were doing a vlog of the Houston Heights and how great it was, and clearly was in parts that was not the Heights, but people who are trying parts of the Heights that are trying to leverage that name brand, you know, and just you kind of need to know. I've got a video that talks about it, and I'll set up that link there. But you need to know, that way you know and understand, or have the right kind of information to make your decision. Number 5, what and where are the schools, the school system? We have 5 that's why it's number 5. We've got 5 local elementary schools here, public. You've got Helms, Field, Love, Travis, and Harvard. Okay? And those have, it's not based on real scientific data, but just call it the Mom's Club. There's a pecking order, a ranking order in desirability as far as it, and clearly Harvard and Travis are near the top of that in that desirability, and then Love, Field, and Helms are again, this is not real scientific. I'm just calling it the Mom's Club. They're much more emergent, but all of them are great schools, highly ranked. And then those feed into Hogg and Hamilton Middle School, and all of them feed up into Heights High School, where my son, our son, is a junior in high school there. Great school, he loves it. Go Heights. My son, literally, when he goes to school, he pulls his bike out of the garage, he makes a left-hand turn, makes another left-hand turn, and boom, he just rides his bike right on into school. Very, very convenient, very, very easy. And I know people all over the Heights, same thing. They walk their kids to Travis Elementary School, or they walk their kids to their elementary school, or they feel comfortable letting their kids walk to and come from junior high. So you're gonna wanna know where those are at. Also, so you don't get caught with speeding tickets. Number 6 thing that you need to know. Where does it flood? Where does it not flood? Now, no one can ever say where does it not flood. All you can say is historically, where is it not flooded in the past, and where is it not in a flood zone. And for those of you who don't know Houston and don't know the Houston area, we have hurricanes, we have tropical storms, we have flooding issues. As a matter of fact, because we've had so much, there was this bond and this vote, and there were some changes that come to flooding. So if you haven't checked out my video, I'm going to pop it up here, and it goes all into flood zones, flood areas, hurricane prep. It goes into the details of it. So we're just going to keep it at a high level here. But because we're so prominent with flooding, there's been some changes that have affected new construction. Things that you wouldn't think about, like how much concrete are you allowed, or the ratio of concrete per your lot. And so you'll see these new constructions that have, you know, nice design work, or it's not just the standard concrete slab coming in. That's because of the permeability guidelines. Also, if you go in and renovate a home, you go in and you apply for any kind of permit to renovate, boom, they're immediately going to come in and require that you check the elevation and make sure that if you do any kind of renovation, that you raise the level of your house to 2 feet above the 500-year floodplain. So it's got to be 2 feet higher than any floodplain. So you're talking about some significant cost to the to any kind of remodel, and that's why it's important to know where does it flood, where does it not flood. Number seven, keeping track back on number 7. Where are the deed restricted historic zones or historic areas? So it's a blessing and a curse. So back in the early 1990s, the historical societies, preservations, really saved the Heights. They came in and did a lot of work and turned the neighborhood around to help it become desirable. Well, now there are some areas of the Heights that are deed restricted historical areas that have very stringent and very specific rules of what you can and can't do when it comes to either building a new construction or remodeling a home. And it's not uniform. Not even uniform within some of these subset neighborhoods. Like, well, Norhill, some people say it's the most stringent. It's really not. The 6th Ward outside of the Heights is more stringent, Old 6th Ward. But when you come into Norhill within the Heights, it's the most restricted. But it's not just uniform across Norhill. There's pockets that don't follow those same rules and restrictions. And then there's other areas in the Heights that, and I'll send a link to a map you can go to, but even in that map, it doesn't follow uniformly, because when they started putting these in, well, some of them got grandfathered in because they had already done it. So literally it's kind of house by house. You need to know and understand, is it deed restricted on what sort of historical renovations, you know, because of the historical preservation, what renovations you can do, and then how is that going to limit your ability, and how is it going to impact your sales price. And so if you're not working with the right agent, not working with somebody who knows and understands where to get that information and knows and understands how to make sure that that information is properly disclosed, then, you know, it's not going to work out well for you, because it's not widely known and it's not out there everywhere, and it does have a lot of variability in it. So that little bonus thing that I was going to tell you about, that little 7+, that is, when you look at the economics, the Heights has been a great investment, but there's still room for growth. So the Heights area land value over the last 10 years has increased over 100%. Somewhere I'll look it up, but it's like 113% growth. The value on the median price per square foot of the home has gone up 60, 70 some odd %. And so that's great, but what's even better news is that there's still room to grow. There's still the ability to take houses, older houses, tear them down and build brand new. There's still large lots available to buy, and there's still lots of room for the Heights to continue this property value, this trajectory. Like I said, like I've said in some other videos, and I'll talk about here, while the Heights is more expensive than some of the suburban areas and some of the areas around, It has one of the best affordability mixes within this inner loop area, this inner loop living, especially when compared to West U, Southampton, Memorial Villages, and River Oaks areas. So super convenient, great investment with lots of room to go. Now, thank you for sticking around to the end. If this video has convinced you, or videos has convinced you that, man, I am ready to go, I'm ready to pick up and move me and my family to Houston, don't forget to give us a call. Send us that text message, send us that email, heck, send us that note via Pony Express. Any which way, when you and your family are ready to move here to anywhere in the city of Houston, we've got your back.